Okay, we're going to give this graphic organizer another try. You're going to use this to solve several of the next problems on Jamboard and transfer your answers into Wiser. So the next problem says 4 neighbors shared 50 pounds of grass seed. If the seed is shared equally between between which two amounts is the share of grass seed each neighbor gets? So this between part is not going to be important on the first few steps, but we're going to go back and do just what we did on the last problem now on this problem with larger quantities. So let's first take a look at this problem and pull out that important information. 4 neighbors for the letter word is going to be a quantity in this problem. 50 pounds is going to be a quantity in this problem. I heard shared and I heard shared equally. So all of those are important parts to determine which operation we're going to choose. And we will get to that in just a second as we draw our model. So the first part says, draw a fraction model that represents what's happening in the story problem. So I'm going to go back and read it one more time. I've already set this up so you didn't have to watch me duplicate all those shapes. It says 4 neighbors shared 50 pounds of grass seed. If the I'm not even going to read that second part because first we want to know how much each neighbor got. So again, I'm going to model what I'm reading in the problem. It says that they shared 50 pounds. So what they're sharing gets drawn as the fraction. Now, I did not want to draw 1 pound models 50 times. So instead, I just got a little creative with how I was going to model it, and I did 10 pound models instead. It's being shared 4 ways. So I'm going to, first, I know that I could get a different color actually. Just grab black. I know that if I split it down the middle, if the whole bar model represented 10 pounds, then now if I split it in half, that means there's 5 pounds and 5 pounds. And I could split it again, and I'd be somewhere in between 2 and 3 pounds and somewhere in between 2 and 3 pounds over here. And again, the model does not have to give us the answer as much as an understanding of what we're doing in this type of problem. Okay, so I'm going to split each one 4 ways. And last, each one 4 ways. So I know that my model should represent what one of the farmers got, how much grass seed each one got. So I just have to look at one of those farmers. Or neighbors, not farmers, neighbors. All right. So my model represents 1/4 of this model. So now I'm going to go over and look and see, choose a mathematical operation that will solve the problem and explain why I chose that operation. So the operation that I chose to solve the problem was division. Now I guess I'm writing in white. I'm writing in black. Okay. Okay, I will use division to solve this problem because 50 pounds is being shared 4 ways. And when things are shared, let me make this bigger. And this part smaller. And then this part bigger again. So, and I know that when anything is shared or split or divided, it means I will divide to solve. Okay, so that is a reasonable explanation and matches my model of 50 pounds being shared 4 ways. Next step says write a fraction that represents what is happening in the problem. So what is happening in the problem? Again, I'm going to go down here and use this reminder. My model shows what is being split, shared, or divided as the numerator. So that means on top, I'm going to write what is being shared. Here, 50 pounds of grass seed is the what is being shared. And the denominator is how many ways or by how many people. 4 neighbors are sharing it. So that's the amount of people. So it's being shared. 50 pounds is being shared 4 ways. Remember, we read this as 50 divided by 4. Now it says use the fraction to solve the problem, and your answer should be in simplest form. So 50 divided by, or 50 fourths, also says 50 divided by 4. So to solve, I'm going to use division, long division. So I'm going to start here in the tens place. How many groups of 4 can I make with 5? The answer is 1 group of 4. Doesn't go in evenly, so we have 1 left over. And I'm going to bring my 0 down and move over to the next place value. How many groups of 4 now can I make with 10? The answer is 2 groups. 2 groups of 4 has the value of 8, like 2 times 4 is 8, with 2 pieces left over. We don't use remainders when we're working with fractions. Instead, your remainder becomes your numerator, and your denominator, or how many ways that fraction was split, stays the same. So we get the quotient of 12 and 2 fourths. Now, I shouldn't have circled that because it is not in simplest form. I know that because I asked myself, can I divide by 2, 3, 5, or 7? Now, remember, we're just dividing the numerator and the denominator. So to get it into simplest form, I can say, you know what, let me actually take that circle back. I can divide both numerator and denominator by 2. Remember, my whole number will stay the same, but now I can divide to get a new numerator. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we get the quotient of 2 and 1/2 now that it's in simplest form. So it says my answer is reasonable. The quantity is not too big or too small, and the answer makes sense. If 4 people were sharing 50 pounds, could each neighbor get 12 pounds? Yes, it's not too big or too small. Now I'm double checking that my model shows what is being split, shared, or divided as the numerator. Yep, 50 pounds of grass seed. And how many ways as the denominator? Yep, 4 ways. So it all checks out. I'm going to try pause again so that we can go to the next slide. Okay, hopefully we're recording the second part to this video. Can't really tell because it's not counting down, but we're going to take a look at this answer and decide where it would fall on the model. So again, I went back to PolyPad. You could draw this yourself, of course, but I built it on PolyPad. It was a little bit easier to do so that I could compare some of these answers. So I'm actually going to start down here with the one that doesn't make any sense. My answer was, when I simplified it, 2 and 1/2. Or I could say that is 2 and 2 fourths still, because I can still compare the size of the fraction with 2 fourths. But I had 2 and 1/2, or 12 and 1/2. So I'm going to get rid of D because it doesn't have the value of 13 at all. So I was able to get rid of that. But I did build the model just to show that my answer wasn't going to fall anywhere near there. So it's not even a reasonable answer choice. So I'm going to get rid of it. All right, so I built this. The 10 plus over here means 10 pounds. So this represents 10 pounds, 11 pounds, 12 pounds, and then 12 and 1/2 pounds. So here is where 12 and 1/2 pounds would be represented. So this is 12 and 1/2. So I am looking for the answer choice that best describes where that 12 and 1/2 would fall when it was compared to the other answer choices. So it says between 12 and 12 and 1/3. So if this was 10, 11, 12, 12 and 1/3, use my laser pointer for this one, 12 and 1/3 would be about right here. And the value of 12 and 1/2 is greater than 12 and 1/3. So that is not, that one's not going to work. The next answer choice says between 12 and 1/3. So I knew that 12 and 1/3 was right here, 12 and 1/3, and 12 and 2/3. So 12 and 2/3 would be right here. Sorry if this looks a little sloppy. And remember, 12 and 1/2 in comparison, or when we compared two identical models, fell right here. So is it fair to say that 12 and 1/2 is between 12 and 1/3 and 12 and 2/3? The answer is yes. But just for the sake of argument, if we look at 12 and 2/3, which starts here, and 13, which would start here, we know for sure that 12 and 1/2 way back here would not fall here. So it doesn't work. So the answer is between 12 and 1/3 and 12 and 2/3.